Joe Manchin has been called out quite a bit by progressive lawmakers who say that he is beholden to his corporate donors. He also has some personal financial stakes that definitely play a role way into his decision on defeating or attempting to defeat the budget reconciliation bill. What I love though is that the narrative has finally spread to the corporate media, and now they're asking Joe Manchin about his corruption, but he no like that. So when Ari Natter, who is a reporter over at Bloomberg, asked him about, the fact that he's heavily invested in dirty coal and makes quite a bit of money for it, Manchin kind of threatened him. So let me give you the exchange. So Manchin was asked about how he's invested in the coal industry and makes quite a bit of money. Manchin responded by saying, "I've been in a blind trust for 20 years. I have no idea what they're doing." So Ari responds with, "You're still getting dividends." And Manchin says, get this, "You got a problem? You do best to change the subject." Okay. What? What was that? No, he would not do best to change the subject. That was a perfect question. In fact, let me provide more context into that line of questioning, because Manchin, according to his most recent financial disclosure, gained $492,000, nearly $500,000 last year due to his non-public shares in a coal company called Systems, which records show is a contractor for a power plant in the state's north that burns waste coal. Meanwhile, Manchin's 2020 income for being a senator was $174,000, which means he makes more than double from his investments in fossil fuels than he does for his Senate salary. So money talks. And I think that that was the right line of questioning. This is the reason why he wants to defeat the budget reconciliation bill, which includes climate action that could hurt his bottom line.
Yeah, so look guys, this is incredible for a couple of reasons. Number one, we've got a breakthrough. The dam is breaking. Reporters are actually asking about corruption. They're finally thought, I wonder if $500,000 affects his vote on issues where it goes directly into his pocket. Of course it affects it. 99% of the country thinks it affects their decisions for these politicians. And the last 1% was the national reporters. They're like, I wonder if campaign donations affect them. Let's ask around, right?
Yeah.
Oh, an actual money going into their own pockets, $500,000. I wonder if that, of course it affects. So, after 25 years of me covering politics, that most obvious question was never asked. And finally it's been asked. And look at the politician's reaction. You best change the subject. Because he's used to bossing reporters around. I'm an important person. I'm a powerful person. The mainstream media works for me. How dare you, you insolent hired hand? How dare you ask a powerful person how they make their money? So he yells at him like the thug that he is. He should get 20 new reporters asking him that question until he answers it. Reporters, that's an open-handed slap. What are you gonna do? You should ask him again and again and again. Is it your personal money that is preventing this vote? Is it the fact that you make all this money what is preventing you from voting with the Democratic Party, with Joe Biden, and with the voters of America, and with 80% of the voters of West Virginia? So that's the reality of what's happening. So that's a giant breakthrough there.
Now, just last night, Senator Manchin had released a statement in regard to his displeasure with the budget reconciliation bill. He didn't provide too many specifics in terms of what it is about the bill that he doesn't like, other than the fact that he thinks the $3.5 trillion price tag is too expensive, and he's allegedly very concerned about the national debt. But remember, there are pay-fors in the legislation. It's just that the pay-fors would include increasing taxes on the rich, meaning his donors, and also for himself, and he doesn't like that. And so Jennifer Granholm responded to it, I think, pretty well on cable news. Let's watch what she had to say.
Manchin also writes, "What I've made clear to the president and Democratic leaders is that spending trillions more on new and expanded government programs when we can't even pay for the essential social programs like Social Security and Medicare is the definition of fiscal insanity." Your response?
But that's the whole point, is that, I mean, for example, there were 50 corporations who made $40 billion in profit last year who didn't pay one dime in taxes. Tax fairness requires that we all pay our fair share. And Senator Manchin, I think, is very much in favor of reshaping the tax code so that it is fair, that we address those loopholes and inequities. So that is a discussion that's happening right now, but the president, too, wants to make sure that it's fully paid for. And that's one of the features of the Build Back Better agenda that has huge support among the population.
Now, remember, Joe Manchin isn't mentioning that there are pay-fors, because that would require him to say that he's against increasing taxes on the rich and corporations, something that's actually very popular among the electorate, including his own constituents. So he's pretending, he's lying to people through his statement by claiming that this is going to increase the debt, when in reality, he knows that there's a way to pay for the bill. It's just that he doesn't want to increase taxes on his donors or on himself.
Yeah, well, the other lie was in the first clip when he said, oh, how much money am I making and from where? Oh, golly gee, I have no idea.
I don't know, Cenk.
I don't know. He said that's the same thing to me. When I asked him a couple of years ago when he was on the show, I said, here's a list of your top 10 donors, and it looks like you voted with them on this bill, this bill, and this bill. And he's like, oh, I don't even know who they are. I don't know who my donors are. Oh, come on. I mean, come up with a credible lie, one that doesn't seem absolutely laughable. And now to turn around and go, oh, Jenks, or in this case, Ari, oh, $500,000. Oh, did I get that? Oh, I don't know anything about it. Money magically pops up in my bank account. I don't even notice $500,000. I don't bother to ask, hey, where did that come from? Hey, I wonder where I'm invested. The same place you've been invested the entire time.
Yeah.
We all know it and you know it. There's nothing blind about it. Your son runs the company. There's nothing blind about that trust.
There's nothing blind about it.
It's a joke, it's a Trump-like trust.
And look, that is a huge problem in Congress, and I've been talking about it a lot on the show. The fact that lawmakers can have their own personal investments, not just in individual stocks, but their own little side hustles going on. That's unacceptable, especially since we're talking about the same Democratic Party that was crying about the conflicts of interest in the Trump administration, with Donald Trump still very much a part of the business world with his own business ventures on the side. Oh, it's a violation of the emoluments clause, which by the way, I agree with. But Democrats have no leg to stand on making that kind of argument when they themselves have massive conflicts of interest, certainly in the case of Joe Manchin.
Yeah, and one more thing. So look at that, Granholm, by the way, long considered a moderate Democrat, but a reasonable person, a good person. We worked with her at Current TV, we had back-to-back shows, and now here she is representing the Biden administration, arguing for a progressive position. And effectively so.
Yeah.
Look at how much the world has changed. And so when he says, oh, I'm worried about the debt, not only does this not add to the debt, but the trillions of dollars that we gave to corporations just last year did add to the debt, and he didn't say a word about it. So there's no question, it is a matter of fact that when you give trillions to corporations, Joe Manchin loves it and is not at all concerned about the debt. When you give it to actual American voters that didn't donate to him, he hates it. And now all of a sudden, worried about a debt that in this bill doesn't even exist.
That's exactly right. And finally, $3.5 trillion for the budget reconciliation bill over the course of a decade. Okay, over the course of 10 years, we spent $7.5 trillion on defense over the course of a decade. So just let that sink in. And by the way, are there any discussions about cutting the defense budget now that we've withdrawn troops from Afghanistan? No. In fact, Congress has decided to increase the budget through the National Defense Authorization Act. So just let all of that sink in as the media frames this as if a $3.5 trillion bill through the course of 10 years is something insane and unprecedented. It's not. We spend that kind of money and way more on defense.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.